It's good to be here. I'm going to talk about some common mistakes new area publishers make and how to avoid them. So most of this stuff is going to be put on me. Most of these are errors that I have made over the years, and my hope on this video and coming to a convention and watching, just gathering more information is to basically OPE, use other people's experience. Use other people's experience so you don't have to hit all the speed bumps, because I've hit them all. I've named most of them. We're friends. And so what I'm going to talk about is some things in the magazines that you have to be considering that you don't want to make mistakes on. And I would say the first and foremost thing as a brand new AP or a veteran AP, and this might even be more directed towards someone who's into their second, third, fourth, fifth issue, second, third, or fourth year, is get started early in your cycle. That to me is so critical. We have a 4 to 5 week sales cycle, let's say, if you're doing a quarterly magazine. And what I find is we have this big push at the very end. The last week and a half is crazy. You break even, all of a sudden you start making profit. You make profit, your magazines go to press. Woo! APs call me, they say, Jim, what are you going to do? I say, I need to relax. I need to go watch a violent movie. Most likely an Arnold Schwarzenegger film festival. 3 in a row, man. I don't want to be around anybody, shut my phone off. It's just kind of my way of escaping, let Arnold blow something up and I kind of live vicariously through him or something. But what I'm getting at is then the calm just took place. We put the magazines to press. They went to the printer. We approved them. And now this lull happens, and it's good to have a lull. For me personally, I have to take about a day to 2 days to clean up my office. Get to know my kids' names again. That's a joke, okay? But basically clean up my office, kind of take all the people last minute I had to move around, my file folders. Just things are crazy. Probably just like your place at the end of a cycle. And so then what I do is I reward myself with a couple of days off, usually doing something that I enjoy. Maybe it's again, fill in the blanks and something that you enjoy. I like to enjoy just getting out and puttering around town, really with no agenda, because I usually have an agenda all the time in sales. I got to go see people. Sometimes I just like to drive around and go buy new shoelaces for my shoes, and then do something else, and run an errand for my wife and stuff like that. It's just very relaxing. But after a couple days of relaxation, it starts to draw me in. Oh, Jim, why don't you stay here and do another couple, 2-3 days of relaxation and stuff? And I just keep telling myself, you know what? If I don't plan the back end, if I don't plan on where I want to be, and I got to figure out the steps to take to get there, I'm not going to get there. The closer I get to the end period, I need to start now. So there comes a time, literally for me, let's say magazines go to press on a Tuesday night as an example. I take that Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, so to speak. Maybe I'm finishing up some billing, doing some chasing of some money, doing some banking, those kind of things. That next Monday, kind of hard to get going for me. But that next Tuesday, I say, I'm going to set up an appointment at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning with a client. And it kind of forces me to get out in the field. And I bring lots of media kits, and once I'm out there kind of moving again, I kind of get back into the rhythm. But I would just tell you that if you don't get started early in a cycle, what ends up happening is you don't have enough touches, you don't have enough exposure to your product, I don't know about you guys, but my average sale in my zone is I'm probably seeing the client face to face 2, sometimes 3 times, maybe even 4 times. And what I try not to do is just keep walking and saying, hey, haven't had a chance to think it over? What do you want to do? I don't just, because that's to me kind of a pressure sale. I'd rather walk in and say, hey, I got some new information for you. A new information could be a spot in my magazine that's available. I've got this right-hand page in my magazine at the bottom right here, the second page. I've got that spot right here. If you want to move ahead, I'd like to get you there before it gets sold out. So I can use a page position in my magazine as a closing tool. So anyway, get started early. Again, my average sale happens after my second, third, fourth touch. I too try to send out an email to some people. Oftentimes if it's a recurring client, I'll take their last ad I used to send them to my graphic designer and say, update the expiration date, then he'd update it to me and send it to the client, then they make a bunch of changes and I have to go back to the graphic designer. And he kind of talked with me. He says, Jim, you know, I noticed that you do a lot of expiration date changes on all 200 of your ads. And then they all come back with changes again. Why don't you just send the last ad to the people? They know the expiration date has to be changed. They'll give you some additional changes at that point. Then you can submit it to me. So it's one less touch for us. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand. I thought I was doing them a favor by updating the expiration date until I understood that that was a touch. And I don't know if you know this, but a graphic designer has to open a file up, go in and make a change, save the file, transfer the file. There's time involved in that for them. So the more I said to my graphic designer, how can I make your life more efficient? He told me how he can make I can make his life more efficient, and I tried to put that into play, right? Because ultimately, I know that if I'm helping him become more efficient with his business, I may be immune from a price increase. I may be on the favorite list. I don't know what it is. I mean, ultimately, that's what I'm trying to do, is always be a low maintenance vendor or customer. Another thing that is a common mistake is when an area publisher accepts a really soft offer. Instead of asking, hey, listen, we'd like to go 10% off of our 10% off. That's our offer. Could be a restaurant, and I'm thinking, whoa, that's a bad offer. That's not going to work. And I might look at them, and I typically accept whatever they tell me. I want to do a 10% offer. I said, okay, we can do that. Let me ask you a question. Dave, do you remember a time where you ran a coupon and you flat kicked it, where it just brought in the people? Do you remember, did you run one like that in the past? Yeah, about 4 years ago, man, we had really good success with this one offer we ran. And I say, great, can you tell me about it? Guess what the offer is? It's a whole lot better than 10%. I say, Dave, would you like to have that same kind of results? Let's go ahead and craft that same offer in this ad. I really want the best offers in my magazine because I want this to have a high value to the end user. Quite frankly, I wouldn't use your 10% offer. I'll look them in the eye and tell them that. I say, you know what? A lot of people I know, that's not going to jazz them up. So maybe at the time he says, Jim, I used to run a buy one, get one free. Maybe he's a restaurant. He goes, oh, times have changed. I can't do that anymore. My cost of goods are too high. I said, okay, so you can't do a buy one, get one. Dave, pretty good margin on drinks, right? He goes, oh, yeah. I said, why don't you do a buy one and 2 drinks at regular price, make his money back up, get a second one of equal or lesser value free. Could you do that? It's amazing. You give them that one idea. They oftentimes go, yeah, I could do that. Now let me see. If I would have accepted his 10% off deal and run that in my magazine, is it coming back in my magazine probably? No. Whose fault was that?
Yours.
Thank you. Merchant makes great food. Doesn't know squat about marketing. What do we know? Marketing. Direct them. Give them counsel on what to do. Now he might go, oh, I can't even do that. Buy 1 and 2 drinks and get the second half off, or second off. So we go to round 2, which is, well, can you do buy 1 meal, get second off an equal or lesser value? Yeah, I could do that. Now again, think about it. I can accept 10%, or I need to fight for a good offer. At Hometown Values, I would say 4/5 of your, 2/3 of your sales to get a yes. See them, get a yes, build value. 1/3 of your sale is to fight for a good offer. Don't ever forget that. If you don't fight for a good offer, Pete gave a great talk yesterday on an area publisher that I put into business. And nice guy, sharp guy, saw lots of people, lots of new faces in his magazine. Every offer was weak. 5% off, 10% off, free egg roll when you spend $30 in Chinese food. I'm like, dude, that dog don't hunt. That's not going to work. But he accepted whatever the client told him, and he had very poor renewal rates. The magazine didn't work. Well, what didn't work was his ability as a marketing consultant to direct the business owner with an offer that does work. Now, I as a man will go into a nail salon. I don't know much about nail salons, so I steal other people's nail salons and say, look, these guys did a $5 off a pedicure. Can you do this? And that's where I get my information. If you're a woman, you know what a good offer is. Honey, listen, we got to bring some people in here, right? And us guys go into the oil change place and go, hey, your LOF, your lube oil filter, what's your best offer on a LOF? They go, oh, it's usually $29.95. I said, can you do better than that? Challenge them. well, I could probably do $25 for a coupon. Can we do that? Let's do that. Let's get it. Let's drive some sales here. Again, let me ask you a question. What's your average sale? He tells me. What's your frequency of use? How often do they use you? See how I'm bringing the break-even analysis right back into his offer? Because he thinks he's giving the farm away on a buy one, get one free, or a $10 off, a $30 purchase or something. Oh, that's too much to give away. Hey, what was your average sale again? How often does somebody use you? What's the annual value of a customer? Now this ad is running this. This is the annual value of a customer. How many do you need to break even? Man, I'd rather bring a ton of people in here with a really aggressive offer. Didn't I see you do Groupon once? So you're basically giving 75% of your service away? Hello. Bring that up to them. That'll wake them up a little bit, you know? So the other thing is, be careful that you don't cram too much information in an ad. It's very easy for all of us to have an ad that's being built, and we proof it. And how do we proof it? Do we proof it in a magazine with a bunch of other ads and noise and things trying to vie for our attention, or do we look at it individually? We look at the ad individually. So does the client. But all of a sudden that ad gets put on into a magazine with left-hand ads, left-hand ads, and right-hand ads over here and stuff like that. It gets kind of confusing. A lot of information coming at you. So the smaller the ad, the cleaner it needs to be. Don't ever let somebody who's running a third of a page Valpak with 2 or 3 offers opt to try to cram that into a quarter page, or worse, a 6th page in your magazine. I just tell them, you know what? Why don't you give us the same opportunity? We can actually, it's very smart from a marketing standpoint to keep consistency in your marketing efforts. If I were you, I would turn around and make sure that the same image that was in the Valpak 3rd page was the same one in Hometown Values. That's the kind of thing I would say. So be careful not to cram too much information in your ad. Next thing you want to be careful of, common mistakes, we've kind of talked about it, never hurts to hit on it again, too much barter or trade. Okay? I'm a big barter fan, but I do it, in my opinion, properly. I didn't live out of the till to try to get barter to get my thing. The other thing is this. Be careful that if you ever do trade with someone, operate off of your one-time price, not your 4-time price. Your one-time price was set high by design. It makes the 4-time price look that much more attractive. So when I did the meat market, Kelso's meat market at $300 cash, $300 trade, it was a 3rd page ad at the one-time price of $5.95, so I had them pay me $300 cash, $300 in trade. Well, my cost of goods on 3rd page ad was probably, what, $180, $200 or whatever it is? Call it $200. So I still made a profit, $100 profit, plus I got trade. I would never have done that half cash, half trade based on the 4-time rate. Why would you do that?
How many times do you run them?
They've run for 3 years, and I have lots of trade for meat.
So you run them, let's say 4 cycles and then you still charge them the one-time rate?
No, not now.
I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Why? Why is that? Because there's an element of trade.
Yes.
Anytime there's an element of trade, I will never go to the 4-time rate. I can't say never because I've done it with an espresso stand, a 6-page ad. I try to get $2.96 for. I sell it for $2.50 and then $225 prepaid cards. I've done that, so I won't say never, but I very seldom ever have a trade component incorporated into my 4-time rate. If the client wants to do a trade with me, it's off my 1-time rate. There are times where I'm looking to grow my page count, and I'll take a 1/6 of a page advertiser at $300. And again, I'm talking about a zone of 15,000 homes. So a 6 page is $300. How much is a quarter page? About $450, right? What's the difference between $300 and $450? $150. I'll double the size of their ad, take a 6 page and double it to a 3rd page, and I'll do it for maybe $75 cash, $75 in trade. Now, that's his own. I don't do this when I'm trying to grow to a 12 or 16. I try to do when I'm trying to grow to a 20. APs that have been out there done a 20-page book before, you know that sometimes, hey, you're sold out at 16 pages with a week to go, maybe even a little bit oversold. You're like, what do? Do Tell a few people they can't put them in, or do we, shift the sucker in the fifth gear and hit it and look to upsize people? I've talked to my brother about taking some of those 42 advertisers in his 12-page book and just take 6 of them and double the size of their 6-page to a 3rd page for $100. Okay, and instantly he'll have probably somewhere around 1.5 pages more filled in his book. Gives him a chance, even better chance, to get to 16. So some of you guys hit it spot on. The bigger, you know why people buy big ads? They're more visible. They're just flat more visible in a product. If you take I'll grab this one because I know it. You take someone who's doing some small little 6th-page ads, and here's some 3rd pages next to it and stuff like that, and all of a sudden you put a full-page ad in there or something like that. I think the Richland magazine, if I recall, had a full-page ad. I mean, you're flipping through this thing here. You're flipping through this magazine here, lots of noise here, right? Lots of ads trying to compete with each other and stuff like that. And this happens. Did it at least stop you?
Mm-hmm.
And another little tip is, anytime you sell a full-page ad, submit it to your graphic designer as a full-page deluxe. By telling your graphic designer full-page deluxe, it tells them don't put a header out on that page, just make the ad a little taller. I would never have some guy make an investment on a full-page ad and then me put somebody else's header out above him.
Mm-hmm.
How insulting. And I've seen it over and over. So be very, very careful if you sell a full-page ad that you submit it as a full-page deluxe, okay? So another thing that a common mistake area publishers can make, check my time here, is to establish a strong credit policy. Right off the get-go. If you're going to buy something from someone, wouldn't you expect to pay for it? Mm-hmm. Of course. I think so much of this is just in our confidence level and who we are and what we have to offer. I'm a business owner. I have a product that costs a lot of money to produce, probably like they do. I don't care if it's a auto detail or if the guy's selling furniture or if he's selling food. They have a cost of goods, okay? Dan's doing filming for us. His time and his resources and his expertise is what he's selling, okay? So there's a cost component to these kind of things. So if you establish a strong credit policy, I just look at the guy and say, listen, in order to process the artwork and process the order and start the artwork, I just need to get a deposit for $300. You can make it out to hometown values. And I say 50% of the time they look at me and say, do you need that now? They're really trying to say, can I have a little more time? I look at them, I say, yeah, I need it right now. You can make it out to hometown values. Or we can take a credit card and pay the whole thing off. I give them those 2 options. Okay? Many times they'll go get a checkbook, they'll write a check, they'll say, could you hold this for a couple days? Sure, when would you like me to hold this for? But I want to be careful, because what am I now training my customer to do? Off the very first transaction to push me off. Jim's a softie. Okay, Jim will accept me to pay him and pay him late. My credit policy is you pay half down at the beginning of the cycle, you pay the balance when you sign your proof off. And if you do that, that will dramatically enhance your cash flow. So you have money to pay your graphic designer, your printing, your postage. Okay? So have a strong credit policy. Something I learned about 6 years ago from an area publisher who stood up and gave a talk. She says, invoice early. I'm like, wow, brilliant concept. I'd wait till the very end of the cycle and invoice people. Why not invoice them early? In fact, this person kind of gave a tip. She says, when I invoice an advertiser, I print 3 copies of the invoice. I mail them a copy with a little prepayment envelope. It's not stamped, but it does have her address on it, so all they got to do is put a stamp on it, write a check, and stick it in that little prepaid number 9 return payment envelope, and off it goes in the mail. And so every single time I mail someone an invoice, I send them that. So I have 3 copies of the invoice. I mail them one. I have a little, manila folder or whatever. This happens to be a purple one, and I'd stick it in their folder. Okay? And then I also have one in a little file called accounts receivable. It's a very simple methodology to keep track of who owes you money. Because many times, let's say now the magazine comes out, let's say the person still owes me some money, and I bring some sample, I go out to see him, let's say, and say, hey, how you doing? I just needed to stop by and get the balance of $223 for the ad, and they go, oh yeah, your invoice is at home. No problem, I have another one right here. That's how I do it, no problem. No problem, I have another one right here. And they kind of get embarrassed and go, oh, look, oh, you have one here, another one. Oh yeah, let me get my checkbook now, okay? And they go get it. Okay. Right, I left my checkbook at home. And no problem, I have another one here. We're gonna start up right now but what I'm getting at is it's important to set a good credit policy and then invoice early. And so let's say that those people, let's say I had 3 copies of the invoice, I mailed them one, I put one in their little envelope so I can use for as a tool, okay, and then I put one in my accounts receivable folder. Well, each week I just kind of cruise through my accounts receivable folder, and as payments have come in, I can just shred those ones. And my accounts receivable file, whatever, I wish it was that big. That'd be good and bad, I guess. But it's little, but it starts going down because these people have paid their bill. Does that make sense? Simple methodology to keep track of stuff. Another thing, a common mistake, is to not put real high redemption categories on page 3. What I'm looking to do when somebody opens up my magazine, because I find that women read magazines this way. It's interesting. It's one of the reasons I put my events calendar right here. There's a reason for that. Women tend to read magazines this way. Women tend to read my events calendar, and they go, oh. And I don't sell this as an extra cost, but is it a premium position to be next to your events calendar? I simply told this dentist who was opening up, I said, hey, listen. And at the time, I didn't have anybody there. I said, hey, listen. How would you like to be right next to an events calendar that has lots of family activities? Moms read it. Moms are making the decisions for the dental needs in the family. I'll put you right there if you go 4 times a year. He goes, yeah, great idea. Okay, because he's now next to my events calendar. Notice that this events calendar is a half-page vertical deluxe. There's no header up here. So when I submitted this ad, knowing he was going to be next to the events calendar, how would I submit it to my graphic designer? Half-page vertical deluxe. And I see many ads come in like this, and there's a little gap, a little half a header ad up here. It's just poor planning. It's just poor planning is what it is. So think about who's going to be next to your events calendar. Maybe it's 2 quarter-page ads and that little gap filler. That's cool. But figure out what you want to do there with that. Okay, another common mistake is, well, again, on a positive note, try to put your strongest offers in your magazine. Maybe it's not the most popular restaurant in your mailing area, but the dude's running a buy one, get one free. I'm not going to bury that offer at the back of the magazine. I want that on one of my very first right-hand pages if I can get it. So try to accentuate. Maybe someone runs a crazy deal. There was a guy in one of my zones I used to own, and he would run a free cup of coffee, a 16-ounce drink. He was an espresso stand, no strings attached. Clip out this coupon. That's a hot offer, right? I call that a stupid offer. That's awesome. That's a hot offer for your magazine. I'd be putting that guy right here, a little 6-page ad on the first right-hand page. That's incredible. I might even give him a cover logo that says, free drink offer inside. I'm going to drive sales, okay? I've got, as you notice some of these different magazines that are out, a lot of people just put logos. I had a place that moved. So I had put their logo and it says, we moved, right below it. Just to help even deliver their message to them into the next, to help them understand that.
Okay,
So,
Jim, briefly, Towers Entertainment Center, their offerings, they've never changed it for numerous cycles, is enjoy a free round of 18 old mini dogs. It's a $7 value.
It's a heck of a
You
deal.
do not have to buy anything. You could march in with this coupon. We were kicking it around and he ultimately agreed to do that because I was throwing different ideas at him. And all you need is a coupon, march in there and go putt-putt.
That's a hot deal. But you didn't bury that in the magazine. You put it way up front so
it's on
people see it.
He's usually on page 3 or page 5 at the top.
Yeah.
But you said that the coffee was a stupid idea for free,
No.
or the espresso.
It means stupid as in great. It was good. It was a figure of speech. That
Well,
it was
he's
a.
not making any money, he's getting a lot of
Okay,
traffic.
let me teach you something about espresso that he taught me. Because I said, you're going to give a free cup of coffee away? The bottom line is this. Did you know that a person who goes to an espresso stand, usually spends about $4 a trip, and they don't go 5 days a week, they go 7 days a week. And the guy looks at me and said, my average sale, he knew his average ticket, his frequency of use was 52 weeks a year, right? Except it was every single day, 360 days a year at $4 a piece. He says, my average customer is worth over $1,000 to me. So he says, I'll see 80 to 100, 200, 300 of these coupons come in, and if I can capture 10, 15 of those people and goes, this was good coffee, and they become a regular, he traded a 300 and, call it a $400 ad or a $300 6-page ad, in your situation a $400 3rd-page ad, whatever, plus the cost of all those free coffees to generate some customers that started bringing in $1,000 a year to him. That's what I mean by an incredible deal.
They get 3 or 4 a day, as many as 20, 25 a week. And
Good.
they spend money bowling, restaurant, and the lounge.
There you go. They come in for something free. Why do you think casinos bring you in the door for their free shrimp cocktail? They want you to start spending some money on everything else. I'm going to keep moving here. Put strong offers on page 3. Here's a couple other things, and I hope if these are not to shoot at anybody's particular magazine. It's just to show you some things that caught my attention as kind of an experienced area publisher. There was a magazine, as I was flipping through it here, all of a sudden I came across a Dunkin' Donuts ad here. That's great to have Dunkin' Donuts. Do you think this is a fairly high redeemable offer? It probably is. I mean, a free donut when you purchase a large hot drink or $1 off a sandwich. Pretty good deal. Is it kind of hard? It's not extremely hard to get to right up here. But do you think this would have been better off maybe positioned as a 3rd page and a right-hand page at the bottom where you can really easily access it? So just something strategic like that. Be careful about where you put layout issues. Another one, there's a area publisher with Hometown Values that literally, part of the deal was they sell a pizza restaurant on their inside front cover. And look, this is one man's opinion. I wouldn't do that. She did. Good for her. She got a guy to go 4 times a year on the inside front cover. Because I know what happens to get to this coupon here, or this coupon, or this coupon. Once it gets clipped up, how's your front cover looking?
They're tossing the magazine.
They're tossing the magazine. So I try to, in my zones, and again, this is just one person's opinion, doesn't have to be yours, try to protect your front cover with stuff that is more institutional phone call ads, a dental office, here's some retail place type thing. But try to stay clear, if you can, of a restaurant. Try to sell these to people who be more of a phone call ad or a lower redemption ad, and try to keep your right-hand pages for your restaurants and retail. One other thing that you want to be careful of is sometimes building maybe a front cover that's a little bit busy. Again, this is a nice front cover, but as you look at this, is there a lot of stuff going on in the background? There is a ton of stuff going on in the background. It's time for kids. It's a little daycare place. It's cute. I think if these kids were here playing with their toys and this background area here was just cut out and removed, it would have cleaned up
Solid color.
there you go, solid cover, just the imaging. So if you start late in your cycle and you just think, here's my cover picture, boom, and you put it in there, think about how people are going to perceive this. Another one is to be really careful about the content you put on your front cover. Here's a pawn shop. Now we got Pistol Annie's, excuse me, I thought it was Lizzie's. Pistol Annie's Pawn Shop, okay? Pistol Annie might be a neat lady. Maybe we can go have coffee after we have a talk. But there's guns in the background here, which is a pretty controversial subject for a lot of people. I'm not interested in creating controversy in my magazine. I'm interested in getting people to open my magazine. Okay? And then we've got lots of rings and jewelry here. I can't quite tell if Annie's about ready to say something to me, or it's just kind of a awkward cover, in my opinion. Okay? And and listen, I've done tons of awkward covers. Where you start putting these collage pictures on, there's just too many of them, and it just gets busy, okay? I've done that, I'm guilty, but I try to correct them. I say, I'm not going to do that again. Here's a gal that does a great magazine in Boise, Idaho named Amy, okay?
That one's really cute.
This is a great front cover. The only challenge I have with it, in my opinion, again, we're just, a couple of people are going, too much information. That's exactly what I said. We're trying to sell too much on here. Okay? We've got kids love Menchie's frozen yogurt. You got to try this place. Adios. That text is out, cleans it up a little bit. We've got the most popular frozen yogurt in the world. That's called a platitude. Prove it. See page 3 for the offers. Okay. page 1, page 2, page 3. I don't see that offer on here. You're assuming that people understand that this is page 1, this is page 2, and this is page 3. If you, and she numbers them, there we go. Some people number them, some people don't, but don't assume that people have this. And again, Amy does a wonderful job. I'm just saying, I saw this and I'm trying to look for things that initially something was off. You know, just located in the Village Meridian, but they've got an ad in the magazine. Let that do the selling, let this do the charming. Front covers do the charming, the ad does the selling. Make sense? Another smart thing Amy did do, which we preach, if someone buys the front cover, get their ad here or here. Don't bury that sucker back in the magazine somewhere, because by the time they get there, they've kind of lost that immediate impact of what that cover did. Okay? And then lastly, here's another one that was kind of interesting. This is a magazine. As I was looking through it, I thought, what's wrong with this picture? Here's a restaurant with coupons. They hard to get to? That could have been a right-hand page, maybe at the or top or bottom, somewhere on the right-hand page potentially, to get to those coupons. Very hard. This is called the spine or gutter of the magazine to get to those coupons. So strategically, think about those kind of things as you go through building your magazine and your layout and stuff like that. Language. Be very careful. Another thing APs will do that are new is they'll have language that says stuff like. They'll say something to the effect of, I just lost an ad, or I got some extra space in my magazine I need to fill. Kind of need. When they say need, that's the business. Here's what the business owner says. Oh, sweet, I'm going to offer him a low-ball deal because this dude is hungry. That's what they're thinking. So I might have 2 pages left in my magazine. And I might walk in and say, hey, John, how you doing? I know we talked about doing something. I don't know what your cash flow's like, but I have an opportunity. I've got this special spot in my magazine here. I've got to be thinking about your business. I know you're always looking for exposure, and I think you guys said you're now taking Saturday appointments as you're in your dental office. I've got this spot right here on the second right-hand page in my magazine. Got a couple restaurants next to you here. Would something like that be of interest to you if I can get you on that spot? Here's the pricing. And I might readdress the pricing. He might have told me, well, let me think about it. But now I come back with new information. Okay? What I'm trying not to do is be that low-level begging of, I need the space. Can you help me? That type of a thing. Another thing you can do is I call it a free ad size upgrade. Have you ever actually looked at the pricing points of say, let me give you an example here. Here's a page that has a lot of different size ads. Has a 6-page, couple third pages, and quarter pages. Get to know the price difference between a 6-page ad and a quarter-page ad. What's the price difference between a $300 ad and a $371 ad? 70 bucks, 75 bucks? Okay, that's a pretty cheap way to tell a guy, hey, listen, we had talked about doing this size ad, John, for your business. However, I can close out my magazine. I'm putting the finishing touches on, but I've got a quarter-page ad left. I'll give you the quarter page for the 6-page price if you want to try us out. Now I've taken a good price of $295 for this, it's a 4-time rate, upgraded into this. Filled kind of a spot in my magazine. I got to be careful when I start doing quarter pages. I don't sell a lot of them, so when I sell them, yeah, they're really hard. I know sometimes people say, well, it's bigger than a 6-page, but it's not as expensive as a 3rd page. If it's a restaurant, guys, really try to push them toward a 3rd-page ad. They really need a big visual. They need a good offer. Right-hand pages are great for restaurants. 3rd horizontals are great for restaurants. So kind of keep that in mind. One other thing is APs will do is I'll notice that sometimes they get caught in doing all quarter page, all 3rd pages, and a couple halves, and their book starts looking kind of stagnant. Try to build an ad, keep coming back to my little thing here. Try to build every single ad size available you have. Get a half-page vertical in your magazine. Don't just sell every 3rd page ad, especially if you're selling a 3rd page ad to say someone who is here's a driving school. Notice how I did a 3rd page vertical here and not just another 3rd page horizontal. Just because you sell a 3rd page doesn't necessarily mean it always has to be a 3rd horizontal. Start building some verticals. It'll help kind of break up the layout in your magazine. So, putting the finishing touches on our magazine, That's really important. Also, another thing I noticed some APs do as they get started, they're afraid to charge a production fee to get the ad built. Some people call it an art fee. Some people call it a graphic designer fee. The Super Bowl's tomorrow, right? Okay, Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl. That's tomorrow. And so here's the deal. How many of you have heard that Super Bowl ads are really expensive?
Oh, yeah.
They are, right?
$4 million.
Okay, so here's an example. I have no idea what they cost, but here's the analogy. If I talk to a person, they go, so I have to pay for the ad? $49 to pay for the ad to have it built? I go, absolutely. Again, they're kind of testing you. I just say absolutely. You probably heard Super Bowl commercials are really expensive. Let's say they're like $1 million for like 60 seconds or something like that. What a lot of people forget is that it also costs $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 to $1 million to produce that commercial. That was the art charge. You're just renting the 60 seconds to run the commercial. That's what I'm looking for from a merchant to go, I never thought about that. They had to build the commercial, which cost money. Then they had to place the airtime. Guess what I'm doing? For $49 one time, I'm going to custom build your ad. One time. You can make changes anytime down the road. There's no charge. But for a new customer, that is a production fee. What you're doing is building your margin, right? If you can get 10 customers a cycle that pay $49, you just put another $500 of pure profit in your pocket, okay? Just build your margin. So don't be hesitant to look at someone, and here's when I would bring it up. I'd cover it and say, hey, listen, they say, well, how much is an ad like this? I said, it's a 3rd-page ad. I said, I think postage stamps are around 49 cents now, aren't they? They say something like that. I said, yeah, we can actually, the great news about Hometown Values is our price. Everybody gets to share in the cost of the printing and postage. So that 3rd-page ad right there, we can professionally design it, print it in full color, and mail your sales message for 3 cents per home. Times 15,000 homes is $446. They go, oh, that's pretty good. And I say I can break it into a couple payments, or you can take care of it all right now, however you prefer. Okay. And once I get something like that, then I just introduce the art price. By the way, we do have a one-time, and they don't usually believe what I say. I point it out on my rate card. We have to custom build your ad. We have a graphic design team that'll custom build your ad. It's $49 one time to custom build your ad. You can make changes anytime down the road. And if you want, you can add that into the price. We can break that into 2 payments as well. So what you're trying to do is move through that process, okay? Every now and then you'll have a guy just trying to grind you on price, okay? What's something now that you could do as a leverage tool? I'm not going to come off my price, my 4-time rate. Something I could come off is what? I could pay the $49 graphic fee. I don't say I'll waive it. Makes it sound like it was never there. I'll say, I tell you what, I really want you in our magazine. I want you in for 2 issues. I'm going to make an investment in your business. I'll pay the $49 graphic fee to my graphic designer to have you in. How's that sound? Close the deal. You're asking for the order, okay? Let's see here. Oh, just a couple other things. Attitude, death repels, right? Being excited, and everybody's got a different personality. You don't need to be walking in doing, cheerleader flip-flops and stuff like that. But be excited about your product, I'm really excited about our magazine. It has great readership. It goes to 15,000 homes. Greg, where do you pull most of your customers? And he tells me, right around here. I said, well, that's exactly where we're mailing to. We do an events calendar, so really kind of attitude. And what if I take 4, 5, 6 no's in a row? Take a look in the mirror and go, okay, numbers game. Maybe go make a couple of service calls on current customers. It's fun sometimes to call up a client it's always fun when a client shares with you. Now that Ty is involved with Hometown Values with us, he shared with me what his little half-page ad has done for him. Where before it was like, yeah, when's the next issue? Yeah, we'll probably do it. But he's like going, and he's also told me sometimes it's been a skunk, a dud. One time I go out, he goes, man, I got I got one window tinting job, and that was kind of it. He says, another time, I sold 3 of these wheel, the header ad, he does this little wheel repair thing, for extreme auto service, whatever, and I sold 3 of these jobs, and I sold one of my machines and made 15 grand. because he sells the machines too or something. You know, it's kind of interesting when you actually will get the truth out of a merchant. A lot of them want to say, well, it didn't work really good. You know, I can go to a guy who goes, this thing was a dud. I got nothing, man. Jim, it just did not work for me. What they're usually trying to do is lie, see if they can get you down. And I go, oh, well, let me just cut my price in half. Please come back in the magazine. There's so many variables that take place. So many variables that take place. You have a question?
Well, I had a situation where a client signed a 4-time agreement, ran one ad, said she got 0 response, and did not want to be in the magazine. I spent a lot of time on direct mail, takes 4 to 6 mailings. I know it works for your category. You need to, change up the ad, the offer. Often takes more than one time. And she just absolutely adamant about not mailing again. I just let her go.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want an unhappy person in my magazine, but does that happen?
Yep, just happened to me last issue. Had a brand new little t-shirt shop, which is pretty vertical category. He sells t-shirts and custom printing, and he says, I'm very clear with him, very clear about setting expectations with people. If you'd like to get this 4-time rate, you need to commit to 4 mailings a year. I was going to offer the test drive to him, but I kind of initially said that. He goes, okay, that sounds fair. No need to offer a 2-issue when I can get a 4-issue. So he signed up with me, and he said his first ad, he says, man, we got a couple people grand opening business too, He's like, which is another problem. They think this little ad, little 6-page, going to be their grand opening drum that's going to bring everybody in the door. Get a clue, people. Okay? So what the bottom line is, the guy ended up coming in the magazine. The next issue, he made changes to his ad. I said, if it didn't work, let's look at your ad a little bit. And he wanted it to be really kind of fancy-dancy. What is this guy right here? I'll just show him to you. His first ad, he's kind of one of these guys that really, I'm trying to think, here it is. It's a t-shirt ad. All this stuff in the background, he wanted all these flowing like images and stuff. I'm like, it's kind of busy. He goes, oh no, man, it's it, man, I'm into the groove. I'm like, well, I'm not into the groove, and I might be your customer, And then so his guy says, didn't work too well. I said, okay, fine. Went back. I made some talk to him. Didn't work very good. Went back, made some changes, changed the background color, really made something significantly more dynamic. Put a strip across the top that basically said custom t-shirts. Because who cares about Crusher's shirt shop? Nobody's ever heard of it. He's brand new. Why not just tell what he's selling? Custom t-shirts in big letters. Really changed the look and feel of the ad. Took it back in. He made a couple more changes. I sent them to the graphic designer. This was getting down to the wire, like the last maybe 3-4 days before we sent the files to the printer. He sends me an email. He says, hey, I'm not going to do this issue. It just hasn't worked for me. I emailed him right back. I said, hey, Crusher, whatever your name is, Hey, Crusher, thank you for your email. Obviously, I want this to work for you. We actually have a 4-time space agreement. Scan attached, sent to him at the same time I sent this email to remind him that he made an obligation. And I said to him, listen, I'm going to hold you to this issue because I'm too late to deadline. But if you're not interested in the next 2 issues, because I really don't want people in my magazine that don't want to be in there, I'm going to release you. That's what I told him. And you know what? It's a 6-page ad. I will go find someone else in a category that probably is more horizontally integrated that people will be excited about. Because how many of us are looking for a t-shirt shop at this particular moment? Not many. I'd rather go take that spot and go get a candy store, yogurt shop, something like that. Okay, is there more work for me? Yes, get over it. You are business people. Go make sales calls and develop business. That's what we do. So one more thing, couple more things, and we'll close up here. Common mistakes APs make: planning, strategic planning. Do you have a list of categories in your magazine that you are looking for that are not currently in your magazine? And if you have that list of 5 or 10 customers, categories that you don't have you developed a sub-list of who those people are? If you don't have a carpet cleaner, is it you just going to keep looking at the word carpet cleaner, or are you going to do some research to find out the name and phone numbers of some carpet cleaners that are in your area and make phone calls to those people? It's one thing to say, I need a carpet cleaner. It's a whole other thing to say, I'm going to call on AAA Carpet Chem Dry, and I'm going to call on Bob's Carpet Cleaning, and Woody's Carpet Cleaning, and Dave's Carpet Cleaning. Now there's my hit list. Now I got something to call on. Okay? So do some strategic planning. Self-discipline, probably the hardest thing for all of us to do is just be self-disciplined. There's no call reports we have to report to anybody on. We have to kind of look in the mirror. Again, I know for me, end of cycle, want to veg a little bit, chill out a little bit, but if I don't get started, and I have a high volume of customers, I'll tell you, if you're going to get to 20 pages or 24 pages, you're going to probably start your cycle immediately. There is not a lot of downtime. Period. James, would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
If you're going to maybe do a 16-page book and kind of stay there, 12-page book and kind of stay there, you probably have a little bit of a base to walk in with, typically, and then you have to fill up and you close the space that's left in the magazine. If you're going to grow to that next level, it just takes more effort, okay, period. So, had an area publisher call me up one time, say, how many pages was your Lake Stevens magazine? I said, 16. He says, mine was 16. How much money did you make? I said, I made $7,200. He goes, how about you? He goes, I made $4,200. How can that be? How can that be that you did a 16-page book and I did a 16-page book and you made $3,000 more than me? I said, well, gosh, let's look at your magazine. We got his magazine out. We started counting ads. Okay, we counted his ads. Guess how many ads he had in his 16-page magazine? He had 32 ads. Guess how many ads I had in my magazine? I had 42 ads. If I average, say, $400 a sale times 10 more ads, do you see the profit margin difference? And I simply told him, I said, seems to me that I outworked you. I don't care if he doesn't want to hear the truth. That's what the truth is. I had to make a lot more sales calls than he did, took a lot more no's than he did to get those extra 10 advertisers than he did to fill my book up. Because I don't want to do a 16-page book unless I'm at least 40 plus customers, because it's just profitable to sell the sucker out. Okay? So, last, just something simple, dress. Everybody's different. Everybody's market's different. Don't go in too formal if you're in a casual area. Don't go in too casual if you're in something that you need to be a business owner. I can tell you one thing that's important is if you walk into a business owner, typically they're somewhat conservative. I just try to look professional. That's it. I don't care if you wear a knit t-shirt, nice jeans, khaki pants. You might be in a market where you need to wear a tie. I don't know. I have found over the years, kind of the older I get, the less I'm wanting to wear a tie, for the fact that a lot of these small merchants, they're anti-corporate people too. Most of them are, because they're even the franchise people and stuff. So just be presentable. Make sure that if you are wearing apparel that needs to get cleaned, maybe do a trade with a dry cleaner, or look at one of your barter networks, BizX, iTech, something like that, if you've got one that can do some trade services to get some, just be presentable. Real important to be presentable. I'll sometimes go out with a new AP. Went out with one guy. He's wearing ripped jeans. Like, I'm going to the club tonight, man, but we're going to make sales calls. And I'm like, probably not. I mean, right off the get-go, we haven't even said, hi, smell my breath, here's our magazine. It was, whoa, who's this dude, man? It's just, do I have to talk about dress? Apparently so. Just be professional. And you choose whatever that is for you. Okay? But make sure that if you have bad breath, take some mints. If you smoke, brush your teeth. Be really cognizant of smoking. Be really cognizant of that, because there's a lot of people it affects. I'll leave it at that. So, listen, the last thing I'll end with, common mistakes. Don't forget to dream. Set some goals and put something in front of you that fires you up. Okay? Put something in front of you that says, hey, listen, I'm going to accomplish this. These are 3 things I want to accomplish in the next few issues with my magazine. And if I can grow to a solid 16-page book with 40 advertisers, I'm going to go get my nails done. It could be something simple. I'm going to go ahead and get that new skirt, those new boots. For a guy, he might be saying, you know what, I'm going to go buy that new saw or get that new deal. I'm going to go buy me some beef jerky, whatever. Do something. I'm going to get that Arnold Schwarzenegger 50th anniversary super platinum, DVD set or whatever. But find something that fires you up, because you got to have a dream. You got to have a why and a know-how, because if the why is strong, the how is not a problem. Okay? So get a really strong why, understand why you're building the business. Let's avoid these mistakes. Most of these mistakes, I've hit them all. Boom, 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 speed bumps, right? Probably one of the biggest benefits of Hometown Values is you've got a lot of people who have hit the speed bumps. Call some of the veteran APs. Ask them the questions. Hey, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently? What a good question that is, right? Because they can say, hey, listen, oh baby, let me tell you what I did wrong. Learn from them. OPE. Okay, thank you.